Another day, another breaking news event of political violence, as I think the sheriff absolutely hit the nail on the head here.
This is the second time I've had to stand in front of you and talk about a shooter at one of my facilities. And I think that the takeaway from all of this is that the rhetoric has to stop. There are people out there who are seeing what is being placed online, and they're coming and they're doing acts of violence against ICE employees. So that's kind of all I have for today, is that it's just got to stop.
Will it? No, it won't. As we saw what happened after the assassination of Charlie Kirk, as the rhetoric heated up from the left saying, no, it's not us. It's the right-wing guy. It's white guys. Of course, we have the same type of statements as the governor of California, who's implementing laws to dox ICE agents, now was on a late-night TV show talking about how horrible ICE is and a threat to, quote, civil society. We're going to get into all of this insane nonsense that's unfolding right now, especially with the breaking news of what looks like another politically motivated sniper attack, as the coverage of the media here really is telling, to say the least here, as now we are finding out that 3 people have been shot and are in critical conditions, with messaging once again on the bullet casings. Is this another case of MK Ultra? Is this another case of left-wing crazy political violence? Well, let's look into that, as there's already some people saying, no, he was a right-winger. What really happened here? Again, we're going to try to examine all the facts of the case here, especially with these bullet casing writings that I think are important to examine here and kind of tell us exactly what's going on here. Now, if you appreciate these types of videos, subscribe, click the notification button. We greatly appreciate all of your attention during these very difficult times in America right now. Now, listen, I agree with this sheriff. I agree with this police officer who says, listen, guys, just stop it. Just calm down. As clearly the politicization of our system has gone to extreme lengths right now and is at a very dangerous juncture. As people are saying, well, CNN's not covering the ICE sniper attack, as they're talking about people who were fired for celebrating the death and commentating on Charlie Kirk's assassination. Shows their priorities. All of this, as we are still hoping that the people, some people are saying it was the detainees who were here, some people are saying it was the ICE detention, police officers who were here, the federal agents who were hit here. I don't know who was hit here. We still don't know those exact details. As the latest that we're getting from the FBI director, Kash Patel, is that this morning, before 7 a.m. local time, quote, an individual fired multiple rounds at a Dallas, Texas ICE facility, taking the life of one, wounding several others, before, quote, taking his own existence. FBI, DHS, ATF are on the ground with Dallas PD and state authorities. He posted this with a picture of these bullet casings, which looks like it comes from M1 Garand. Just my initial type of reaction here. I could be wrong. While the investigation is ongoing, an initial review of the evidence shows an ideological motive behind this attack. See photo below. One of the unspent shell casings recovered was engraved with the phrase anti-ICE. More updates will be forthcoming. Those despicable, politically motivated attacks against law enforcement are not a one-off. We are only miles from Pearyland, Texas, where just 2 months ago, an individual ambushed a separate ICE facility targeting their officers. It has to end, and the FBI and our partners will lead these investigation efforts to see to it that those who target our law enforcement are pursued and brought to the fullest extent of justice. Thankfully, no law enforcement personnel were injured. Please pray for the injured and deceased. All of this is happening as, of course, not only is the rhetoric ramping up, but there's been multiple attacks. There have been multiple protests. There's been multiple people who have been doxing ICE agents, who've been taking pictures of their face, releasing where they live. There's even websites that are releasing a lot of this data, a lot of this information, and a lot of people saying, go on, go get them, as the rhetoric is just absolutely crazy. Joe Rogan made a comment about the rhetoric. We're going to play that clip in a little bit here. But CNN was reporting on this as Sean Fitzgerald initially responded. I don't know if he corrected himself as of now, that detainees were shot. It wasn't ICE agents, and that people should wait a bit. I mean, I don't know. That whole thing just doesn't make sense, especially in light of all the recent events that have been happening here. Maybe we're still waiting for more information, but it looks like this initial report was wrong here. And people are saying, well, CNN, just like clockwork, saying, oh, no, let's not get any political understanding from this at all.
Those ICE agents not shot or hurt. We do not know, however, the motive of the shooter. That still remains an open question and will be under investigation, and we'll be continuing to ask our sources more about that. But what the Department of Homeland Security has pointed out is that this same facility back in late August also had to contend with a bomb threat at that facility. So certainly ICE has been contending with additional assaults, attacks, and threats to their facilities.
Yeah, in record numbers. As, of course, Jack Posobiec says, Human Events is told Dallas shooter is another young man born in 1996, anti-ICE motive. No, again, Brian Krasstein already has a horrible take on this. And before playing the Joe Rogan clip and getting into more of the kind of important nuanced conversations here, there's more press conference, more information kind of coming out here. Ted Cruz had something to say about this. We're going to play all those clips. Before we do, we got to pay the bills around here, and we'd like to sell good products that are good for you. And that's one of the reasons we actually have teas. We are Change.shop. Go here. We have organic lemon ginger green tea. No microplastics in it. It is loose leaf. Can't recommend it enough. Lots of teas out there have microplastics in them, have pesticides and all this horrible stuff. Our stuff is organic. And I just typed in green tea into Twitter, and this is what people are saying. They say green tea is very useful for health. It reduces fat in liver. It boosts our skin tone. Carnivore Aurelius. Green tea protects the body against almost every toxin we're exposed to today. Pesticides, mold, heavy metals, smoke, PCBs, and arsenic. Matcha works well too. Other person, Simlan, says green tea is one of the healthiest beverages in the world. Improves cardiovascular disease risk, improves heart health, improves metabolic health markers, targets all hallmarkers of aging, reduces visceral fat, is associated with lower mortality. Again, look up all the studies. Don't believe anyone just because they said something on the internet. Do your own homework and research. But tea, we only have 27 of these bags left. Organic lemon ginger green tea. This is the healthiest drink that I like to drink. And again, we usually make it in a big cupboard. No added type of sweeteners and sugars. You put in honey if you want some honey or maple syrup. It's a little bit of an extra step there, but it's well worth it because, look, you could get high fructose corn syrup, microplastic leaching, but then it tastes good, but it just fries your brain and destroys your liver and is just absolutely horrible for you. We have enough microplastics in our world. Fight against it. We are Change.shop. Get yourself a huge bag of tea that will last you a very long time. Now, listen, the FBI director posting these bullets, like, I think highlights how, again, we'll see who's right. We'll see who's telling the truth here. But when you're shooting at an ICE facility, right, that's been threatened with a bomb, that there are multiple attacks at, that there are multiple protests at, that the left is seeing as the main kind of battering ram that they want to use in this kind of political circus that all of us are involved in, it highlights clearly a political motive. Brian Krasstein, this us suck, sick. A white male, again. Really? What are you, Brian? A white male. That's the first thing you lead with. Has reportedly again, as Next News Network is. Quick question. If he was black, Mexican, or Asian, would you point that out like you do, only to celebrate when your own race commits these types of events? A lot of people are like, Oh, goodness, the memes here. Some people are showing different photos. Again, it is also important to note here that a lot of Latinos and blacks are being characterized as white in our correction system and in our justice system. So who knows exact identity as he self-exited. We don't know much about this detail yet, but we are finding out more and more details as another FBI special agent did confirm the bullets having anti-ICE messaging and political messaging on them.
What I can also share with you is that early evidence that we've seen from rounds that were found near the suspected shooter contain messages that are anti-ICE in nature. Again, this is just the most recent example of this type of attack.
Yeah, and Charlie Kirk's assassin also had anti-fascistic messages on his rifle. Jack Posobiec comes out and says, leftist attack at Fort Worth ICE facility. Trans radical murdered Catholic children. That happened. A leftist murdered, that was with the trans lover, Charlie Kirk. A leftist shut up an ABC news station. That story doesn't get a lot of attention. Now, there was also a guy in New Hampshire that screamed Free Palestine and tried to commit a mass shooting, but was stopped by someone with a chair. But he took the life of one person in that incident, all within the, quote, last few weeks, as these type of escalations are clearly something that is a severe type of situation that I think deserves a big national conversation, as it's pretty clear here there's a problem. There's an issue. And a lot of people are like, but both sides. You can't make that argument anymore. I used to make that argument when it was a legitimate type of environment to make that. But even then, it was overwhelmingly, especially with like even the street skirmishes, even the street fights, even the bigger kind of battles for Berkeys, it was always one side instigating it. Let's just be real. Here's what Ted Cruz had to say about this incident.
Politically motivated violence is wrong. It was 2 weeks ago today that we saw a political assassination in Utah that tore the heart out of much of this country. This is the third shooting in Texas directed at ICE or CBP.
Yeah, most people don't know that. Most people are like, what? A third one? Yes. And that's just in Texas. What's going on all around the country? It's even worse than that.
This must stop. To every politician who is using rhetoric demonizing ICE and demonizing CBP, stop. To every politician demanding that ICE agents be doxxed and calling for people to go after their families, stop. This has very real consequences. Look, in America, we disagree. That's fine. That's the democratic process. But your political opponents are not Nazis.
Yep, and that's the kind of rhetoric of the left. Like, oh, they're Germans from the 1930s. Trump is Hitler. We got to take them out. And I'm like, what kind of fairy tale, insane, delusional land are you living in? Okay? Listen, you could disagree with what's happening, but to take it to such a major escalatory trajectory where it's like, and I'm like, they're gonna like exterminate hell. And I'm like, what are you talking about? You do not live in a coherent type of reality. J.D. Vance, the Vice President of the United States, says the obsessive attacks on law enforcement, particularly ICE, must stop. I'm praying for everyone hurt in this attack and for their families. Again, multiple injuries, multiple fatalities. Horrible. Now, the governor of California just passed a law where now ICE officials have to show their face. Now, listen, I think there's a middle ground. I think if you have like a badge number that could be correlated with a supervisor or, some type of database so we know who's who and they know what they're doing so they can't abuse their power. Okay, I kind of like that idea. Like, that's fine as long as it doesn't kind of like dox people and have them threaten and have weird people showing up at their homes and threaten their families, right? There's a middle ground, right? And now the federal government is going to be like, yeah, California, screw you. We're not going to listen to that, especially with what just happened in Texas, as a lot of people are being harassed. A lot of people are being intimidated for working for ICE. There's a lot of major protests. Gavin Newsom, just even last night on the Stephen Colbert show, came out and talked about how horrible ICE was.
That's happening in the United States of America. Masked men jumping out of unmarked cars, people disappearing, no due process, no oversight, zero accountability happening in the United States of America today. People ask, well, is authoritarianism, you're being hyperbolic? We're being hyperbolic.
You're being hyperbolic. You're being very hyperbolic to the point where people are literally thinking that they need to take ICE agents out.
If you're a black and brown community, it's here in this country. And so I'm deeply proud.
And look at the applause. Look at the delusion. Look at the insanity that these people are living in.
That I had the privilege of signing the nation's first bill to address the issue of masking. Also to require you have simple identification, to your point.
Simple identification that doesn't dox people. Okay, I understand that. But saying you got to take off your mask so people can take photos of you and know who you live, where you live, and know exactly who you are. I think in this type of climate and culture, not logical, right? Not the right move to make here.
I mean,
unless you were just trying to get rid of ICE and trying to prevent people from working for ICE, then okay, I see what you're doing here. I get it.
A guy jumped out of an unmarked car in a van with a mask on, tried to grab me. I mean, by definition, you're going to push back. And so these are not just authoritarian tendencies. These are authoritarian actions by an authoritarian government. You saw what Stephen Miller said last week. This should put chills up spine. Called the Democratic Party an extremist organization.
It's kind of funny how there was no pushback when Barack Obama was doing it. Barack Obama was deporting a lot of people. The numbers are comparable, right? None of this was happening. Why is that? Because, again, we don't live under the same type of political climate like we did before.
Basically a terrorist organization saying he's going after his enemies. You saw the tweet that Donald Trump sent out, Truth Social, basically telling Pam Bondi, I want these 3 people taken out. That's happening in the United States.
Yeah, it's like, oh, no, look what happened under the Democratic leadership, right? They arrested Trump. He was facing 700 years in jail, right? Now, there's a lot of also other crazy incidences. There's a congressional candidate who was at one of these protests, right? And the left is seeing this as their main kind of rallying call. Now, I saw her talking about this, and I was like, my goodness, like, it was crazy seeing her talk about this incident, because she's like, oh, no, I saw something that was going on, and I walked over to see. I wanted to see what was going on. There's videos of her, like, locking arms and, like, blocking vehicles from moving in and out. Okay? Don't tell me, oh, I just wanted to see what was going on. No, you're there to block the vehicles from moving back and forth. These officers are moving anyway, asking you to move. You're not moving. Right? All right. Listen. You look at my whole entire, like, career covering all this stuff, right? You see all the stuff unfold in the way that it kind of transpires, and it's like, and then the way she, like, legally, like, worded it, and oh my god, and I was just assaulted. If you look at this event, she was just like pushed out and moved out of the way, and she fell to the ground after what looks like her going limp. Whatever. Crazy incidents. Now, Joe Rogan has his comments. I'm going to make a separate video about these Joe Rogan comments because I think they're important to talk about. He talked about, for the liberals who want to start a physical war with the right, he explains how that's a very bad idea. He explained also the radicalization. And again, with these kind of insane, delusional, radicalized people saying, yeah, the left is committing all this violence, but it's the right that's really bad. It's the right that's authoritarian. It's the right that are like the Germans in the 1930s. Hillary Clinton, MSNBC. Look, the violent rhetoric's coming from the right. The violent actions is coming from the right. And I'm like, what? Did you just see what happened to Charlie Kirk? Did you just see what happened to those ICE agents? Even Jimmy Kimmel never really apologized after his latest comments. Rob Schneider says it was a semi-apology. And then talked about how he lied and obfuscated things for political power. People are drunk on political power in this country, and it's extremely dangerous. I'm going to make a separate video about Joe Rogan's comments on all of us. I think they're very important to understand here, especially with him being a former liberal. Now, pray for those people who were injured today. Let's hope that they make it. Pray for de-escalation. But as I said, I've been worrying about this for years. The divide and conquer agenda is real. They're going to set us against each other. That's very real. It's going to be an awful, horrible next few days, weeks, months, and years, as the political world is just absolutely wild. But hey, if you're not involved in it, you just casually drink your tea and watch all the madness unfold. Cheesy plug here, but whatever. We are Change.shop. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you so very much for watching. Stay tuned for more. All here exclusively on youtube.com/wearechange.